Hello, and welcome to the word Unveiled. I'm so glad that you are here taking your time to view my channel, my content, and maybe just satisfy your curiosity. Many of you may be wondering, what is this channel and what is it about? In this short introduction video, that is exactly what I am going to answer for you. Back in April of 2020, during the onset of the pandemic, I was inspired to start something like a YouTube channel after having seen the Out of Shadows video documentary that went viral that same month, as much of what was revealed in that documentary resonated with me deeply, and if anything, it definitely got my wheels turning. Now, before I continue, this is not a conspiracy channel. This is a critical biblical studies and apologetics channel. The reason I mention Out of Shadows is simply because it inspired me, even though I do believe much of what they said is biblically true and relevant. However, with that in mind, I think I need to make it known that I will sometimes cover what would be considered, quote, conspiracy theories, unquote, from time to time, because the reality is that life and human history has been full of proven, acknowledged conspiracies. Hitler's conspiracy to create a perfect race and eradicate all Jews from the face of the earth is a historical fact, having dozens upon dozens of primary documentation sources available and even physical evidence still remaining today. In fact, it is the whole reason why World War II even happened. If we go back to ancient Rome, Brutus' conspiracy to murder Emperor Caesar of Rome is known as a historical fact by most leading historians. Additionally, the Watergate scandal, which was essentially a conspiracy, was also found to be true and resulted in the removal of the POTUS from office during many of our very own lifetimes. And finally, CIA operations known as MK Ultra and Mockingbird are also well-known and proven empirical facts, as you can even obtain the corroborating primary source documentation from federal archives right now using the Freedom of Information Act if you wanted to. Many formerly top secret and classified operations have since become unclassified, and much of what was claimed to just be, quote, conspiracy nonsense, end quote, in past decades is now known as fact. Now, I don't believe all conspiracies are true, and there are many of them that are honestly quite absurd. However, to also automatically shut down all ideas, arguments, and theories simply because they may have the label of conspiracy theory is not very indicative of true critical thinking. What this channel strives to aim for is to study all relevant content through a truly critical lens and to follow wherever the evidence leads, regardless of what it says or indicates. Since we know in hindsight that many of Earth's previous conspiracy theories have been proven to be true later on in time, we must be willing to investigate them for ourselves, as we simply cannot always blindly trust our world governments simply because they are our governments. Throughout all of history, countless revolutions have been waged in the name and purpose of overthrowing a terrible, corrupt, and even outright evil government. The United States of America itself was formed out of that exact same scenario. This is not a call to revolution in any way. I merely use these historical examples to prove my point. But I believe these are realities that all critical thinkers must acknowledge in their pursuit of truth. Now, moving past the subject of conspiracies, I can tell you that a majority of my content will mostly be studying the Bible and addressing subjects common to apologetics, creation science, philosophy, theology, religion, and more. At the heart of this channel, my goal is to have a research documentary channel that strives to cut past the surface with every video that I produce. I aim not just to answer the what, but to also answer the who, when, where, why, and how of many questions, if it is possible. The world is full of confusion and chaos today, and as a believer in Christ, I know that the truth of Christ can and will set people free. The pain in the world today is something that too many of us have grown accustomed to ignoring or medicating. But I believe every single Christian has a role to play in ministering to the world and helping to bring actual healing, whether it's through service in a church, outreach to your co-workers and neighbors, field missions across the globe, or even something like this in the form of YouTube. I believe we all have an urging of the Spirit deep within us to share the gospel and the hope of Christ. My ultimate goal with this channel is to teach people how to think critically again in a society ruled by the fear of honesty, cancel culture, political correctness, speech control, and where so many organizations out there try to dictate to us what is true and what isn't true, simply because they have a neat little stamp of authority that they can hold over our heads that may or may not actually have any actual truth behind it. In a world where skin deep is as deep as most people care to go, I want to take us to the heart and soul of any issue and to be unabashed by the implications of what might be learned there. I want a community that aspires for knowledge, wisdom, revelation, and true independent free thought, and not to be belittled by it. I want a community of people who are not afraid to do the honest intellectual work for themselves in finding the truth, and not to simply believe what we are told and expected to believe by many of those who, quite frankly, haven't earned my unquestioning trust. This channel will cover some hard subjects from time to time, but if you are a person who longs for the truth, regardless of what it may mean, and if you're willing to follow that truth, then to you I say, welcome to the Word Unveiled. There may be some questions throughout our journey that we cannot discover the truth to, but that is okay, for we can only know in part. As a final disclaimer, I want to state for the record that no matter what conclusions or near conclusions we may come to in some videos, I want to say that I will never claim in any of my videos that what I may find is a universal, absolute, unconditional fact, nor that my opinion, perspective, and interpretation of the subject matter is ever consistent of the entire picture in the fullness of its absolute raw reality. No matter how sure or unsure of the findings we may be, I urge all of you to take what you see and learn here on my channel and to go further and deeper with it in your own time between you and the Lord and the Scriptures. To that end, I will conclude this introductory video and leave you with some scriptures that I believe ruminate the heart of what this channel is about. I encourage you to take the time to read these scriptures, the context in their containing chapters, and to deeply ponder them and pray about their application. Until next time, thanks for stopping by and for lending me your time. I hope that you choose to stick around and to join me on the journey of the Word Unveiled, and I'm looking forward to building this ministry and community with you. You can find my other social media posted in the description of this video, and I will see you in the next video.